Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of June 18th, 2020. The current character challenge is Batman, Ninja Lord, Joker, and that is a one-week repeat. The required characters for that are Harley Quinn, Deathstroke, and Joker, who are bronze, and silver, respectively, so this is a great character for newer players looking to get a challenge character. His passive is Cult of the Demon King, which is when the Joker KOs an enemy. For 10 seconds, his attacks deal 100% life drain, and enemy life drain heals him, and Gunner teammates' special attacks cause 20% damage to the opponent's tagged out teammates. Gunners are Deadshot, Deathstroke, Harley Quinn, Lobo, and the Joker. He has 1500 health and 1500 attack and 1300 health, and he lasted a repeat April of 2019.
So, Joker, what's there to say? The splash damage is cool, and I want to like it a lot more, but it's not entirely game changing unless you really lean into it and make him or maybe even a full team of specialists to take advantage of it, right? And put in some more splash damage gear, you up the numbers. So if you look at the number, 20% damage on special attacks, 20% on special one, it's nowhere near enough compared to, say, League of Assassins Knives, which is 50%. It compares very favorably for the Fourth World Mace, which gives 20% the same, but only on special 2. So the difficulty is, because you're limited to gunner teammates, you've got an issue of trying to max out splash damage versus maxing out power gen so they can actually tag in ready to do some specials. And so this is where you talk about opportunity cost, right? So the most tempting option to me is to have him with our Flashpoint Deathstroke, but what it means is that you lose out on Flashpoint Deathstroke's extra damage with Pirate Crew if you remove a Flashpoint player, and a full Flashpoint team of Batman, Aquaman, Deathstroke feels like it's going to do the most special one damage without really sacrificing anything.
Yeah, the main issue is with Tantu Totem, splash damage matters not nearly as much, and 20% is not nearly as substantial to the point where you run into a lot of situations where even if you were to knock somebody out, that 20% that you've dealt over to the next guy isn't that great. And so it's actually better to have the increased damage to just knock them out themselves than it is to build a team around that extra 20%. And, stacking splash damages is where it starts to get a little more valuable.
Right. So that's why stacking, this is why I've been thinking that, the other thing to maybe potentially play around with is to use his passive, stack it with Arkham Origins Deadshot's passive, who's got built-in splash, right? To get even more splash damage. Now, the usual way of exploiting special one splash damage with Lucha Urbane and Batgirl, and to take advantage of that 50% is it's the boosted stun damage with Cloak of Destiny or Necron Scythe.
Because then you deal 300% more damage, so you're essentially dealing, an extra 150% damage worth of normal special damage just in splash.
Yeah, and the problem is Deadshot doesn't have stun. So you could get a much higher percentage of splash damage, right? So you get League of Assassin's Knives, for example, plus 50. His own passive, I think, is plus 20. And then Joker's is plus 20. I can't even remember what the numbers are, but then you can really boost it. And it seems like, wow, you almost double it. But you won't be doing as much damage if you're not stunning them and exploiting the stun boost. So, you think that, so then you start thinking maybe you start at the beginning with the stun using static, and you give him Razzle Go Scimitar, or maybe Batgirl is the other teammate so that he's got the bar of power. And then you think Deadshot, so Cult of Destiny or the Scythe, plus League of Assassins Knives, and then you think, okay, so what's the third slot? LexCorp Gauntlets to increase the stun and crit on special one, but then all of a sudden you have no slots for Tantu Totem generating power, right?
Yeah.
So it's so hard to give up what is possible to try to. It's different, obviously, if you don't have the other options, but it's. And the other danger with the strategy is if anybody on the other team's got brandished Ninjato, all of a sudden you're giving them a whole bunch of power when they tag in.
Yeah.
And I guess we shouldn't ignore the last part, but the 10 seconds of life drain, it never feels like it makes any sort of difference because it's still a defensive kind of passive. So it gets a bit more health for the first 10 seconds after you knock somebody out. If we're doing it right, we don't need that health.
Yeah. So there we go. This week's multiplayer reward is Cassandra Cain Batgirl, whose ability is Assassin's Ambush. On tag in, Cassandra Cain attacks, causing the opponent to lose 25% of current health. last available in November 2019.
So this makes it interesting. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. Part of me is leaning towards a good thing. So Cassandra Cain Batgirl followed Mother Box in November.
Yeah.
And it's doing it again now. So right after Gingold Soda, we had the 3 legendary gears that we'd been missing out on. Tantu Totem, Necron Scythe, and Claw of Horus.
So it looks like they took note.
Yeah, but it looks like they might be even keeping the same sequence. So they just stopped it temporarily, stuck in the 3 important gears that they were missing, and then now we're picking up exactly where we left off.
Yeah.
Where we would have if we hadn't been interrupted right after Gingold Soda.
Which is not bad, because I think everybody got a chance to get the gears after having them out of rotation for so long. The only issue would be is anybody who missed them again this time has a long wait until they swing back around again.
Yeah, but now at least there's a possibility instead of like a year and a half later, right? It's going to be part of the cycle, which is going to be a few months, maybe. So listen, I think it's good. It's hard to really feel the same kind of pain that the newer players are experiencing, but it means that it lends itself still to people picking up the game even now.
Yeah. Oh, and to finish off Cassandra Cain Batgirl, her stats, she has 1,150 attack and 950 health.
Oh yeah, I guess we didn't comment on Joker. I mean, Joker's, as one of the newer characters, has got great stats. You can see he's way better stat-wise than Cassandra Cain Batgirl.
But it's a question
loaded,
of recency.
Yeah, she's loaded towards front. Right, so along with Ares, she was one of the first 2 multiplayer character rewards. So her stats seem really low, but they were really good when she was released. And it's funny, too, because her passive is just the one ability. Unlike a lot of the newer multiplayer characters, or even the newer golds, that have multiple abilities in their passive.
Yeah.
25% reducing health is a decent amount.
It would be great if it was max, not current.
Yeah, that's really it. Because it's almost impossible, or it might even be impossible to knock somebody out with their passive unless they're down to maybe down to 1 health. But I don't know if it rounds down or up when it tries to take off a quarter health.
Yeah.
It's not... I guess if... no, she doesn't stun. Yeah, again,
crappy.
It is pretty crappy.
Because it starts out great, right? You can swap in right away on somebody, and then that's a lot of damage. But the problem is, you don't need to ever swap in on somebody when they're at full health, just because.
Right.
So
unless you make the point of it, like
you really have to play around it, and it only is good for the first time, and then after that, 25% of 75% becomes less and less and less, and at that point, you're better off just whacking them.
So the qualifier I'll say is that maybe in Survivor, where you're facing guys with way more health than you, it's more valuable because you're docking off 25 of like a huge health pool.
Yeah, in the same way that anything that's a flat percentage is way better in Survivor than it normally is.
Right. I mean, a better percentage is actually Teen Titans Raven, where her passive can actually knock out somebody after her special completes.
Yeah.
Which is good. So, listen, it's still a lot of fun leading into that tag out damage by giving her Claw of Horus, and then you're dropping them 35% at the beginning.
Yeah. And
I think Claw of Horus isn't the current health, and so it's easier to knock somebody out with Claw of Horus.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fast. I think to me she feels like she's faster on her basics than any of the other Batgirls. She's got the special one like all the other Batgirls. Not as good as Batgirl Prime because it's multiple hits. Although that might be good in somebody who revives, but not as good in somebody who's got Astro Harness. So I still think she's a pretty good card, even though it's been a long time since she was released. Her passive scales up to her opponent. She could be better with better stats, but she's still a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, so there we go. In the store, we have the Darkseid War Bundle for $25.99 Canadian, and that comes with Apocalypse Darkseid and Rebirth Jessica Cruz. We also have the Bounty Hunter Lobo Challenge Pack for 200,000 credits. So it costs 50,000 credits more than a regular pack. That's 150,000 for a normal challenge pack, and this special one is 200,000. And you get a 6.16 instead of 2.86% chance of getting that specific character. So,
So the point you made last week, I think, was a really good one. It stuck in my head a bit. Or not last week, maybe 2 weeks ago when it was Arkham Knight. Is that if you're going to really charge that much more, and all you're doing is increasing it by 3%, like 1 in 30 packs, you're more likely to get Darkseid. it's not worth it. Cause
if that's the only one you want, you can literally just sell your characters and then buy more
Yes,
packs, and
yes.
you'd end up getting a better chance of getting darks,
Right.
getting the specific challenge character you wanted.
So the better thing would be that there's a 1 in 30 chance that you get an extra challenge character that happens to be Darkseid.
Yeah, and that would actually be cool.
That not only would be cool, I think that would be fair. Like right now, this feels like a ripoff, and the other way wouldn't necessarily be a deal, but it would definitely feel like it was more worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would still make a little bit of sense even if you wanted multiple different challenge characters.
Yes.
Yeah. Currently in our Survivor, we have the LexCorp gear until the 1st of July 2020. Like we said before, it's not 100% consistent with everybody, but that's what we have.
Yep.
Phantom Zone.
There's one more week left.
Yep. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough was Zatanna, Flash, and Solomon Grundy, and based on the schedule, this weekend's breakthrough will likely be Superman, Raven, and the Arkham Knight. And if you're looking for a way to track that yourself, there's a link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16, friend of the show, that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle.
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
So moving on to current glitches. Remember, every working glitch is explained in a video as part of the playlist that's linked in the top right corner. We keep that up to date. There hasn't been much happening, so spoiler alert, it's nothing new this week.
Yeah. So starting off with significant not working glitches, there is no working glitch for credits that we are willing to endorse. In Season 6, Episode 9 of our P&Q and CNA and T, we talk at more length about it, but the important part is that there's a 2-device glitch that requires you to be logged into 2 devices at the same time. While people don't seem to be getting banned for it as far as we've seen currently, there is a huge risk because at one point there was an auto ban for it. So we know that there's a way to automatically pick up when people are signed in to the same account on 2 different devices at the same time, because we've had an account banned for that before.
Yeah, it's funny too, because it used to be that the account would be banned instantly.
Yeah.
And now if there's going to be something that triggers it, typically happens at the end of the season. So that's just interesting.
So we just know that, at one point they were able to check that without any actual human oversight, and it would be possible for them to do it again. And we're not sure if it's happening right now because we've never tested it ourselves. It doesn't seem to be, but, we don't want to take that risk.
So other glitches that people ask about that are not working. Getting repeated multiplayer season rewards not working. A method for exploiting early multiplayer season rewards also not working. No glitch to get through Phantom Zone quickly. Free energy without having to watch a video is gone, because you can't even get free energy with watching video because there's no button for it.
Mm-hmm. Now we can talk about working glitches. The glitch to let you play Phantom Zone repeatedly is still working, and the challenge reset method that requires Google Play Cloud Save is also still working, confirmed on the Batman Ninja Lord Joker challenge. The important part, and the reason why we mention them together, is because each one resets the other. They're very similar, almost the same glitch. So if you are willing to reset progress on one, you have to be willing to reset progress on both. So don't accidentally reset your challenge when you're halfway through, or your Phantom Zone when you're almost at a full crystal, especially with how short challenges are and the fact that there's not a lot of time left in the Phantom Zone. You don't want to be resetting them and not having enough time to complete them.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've cut and pasted a comment from viewer Jonathan Yang, who's on iOS and has a method for resetting the challenge on iOS. We can't test it, but there seems to be some positive feedback from other viewers confirming that it works.
Mm-hmm.
Breakthrough glitch to let you play repeatedly is still working. The airplane mode / refund glitch still working. Good for any packs with random drops, also known as loot boxes, just like the challenge pack that we mentioned earlier and the Bounty Hunter Lobo challenge pack. And also Last Laugh tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work for us in Phantom Zone for Last Crystal, but people have been reporting it does for them on iOS especially, and somebody's mentioned on Android. I'm not sure. I haven't really seen anything about it, and we've not been able to switch that around.
Mm-hmm.
And we should also point out that people have been doing a different form of the airplane glitch with a second account. The reason why we don't do that, so earlier we were talking about 2 devices, 1 account. Now we're talking about 1 device, 2 accounts. Mm-hmm. The issue is switching back and forth. It doesn't happen every time, and I think you have to make a mistake for this to happen, but you can have bleeding from one account to the other, so that something in one account ends up in the other. One messes it up, screws up characters. So that's not the sort of thing that we want to endorse either. So we stick to clearing app data.
Mm-hmm. Time shifting still works in Android for unlimited survivor play and energy recharges. As always, return your countdown clock back to normal before you finish. And in between not working and working glitches, we have the promotion glitch where you can promote characters that are still locked. It hasn't had the right conditions since update 2.14. It's not testable. It's not usable, but it has not been tested and failed. So we keep it in here because we are pedants. It'll be there for the foreseeable future, probably forever. Likely at this point until we stop making these videos, I think. So there we go. And to finish up, we have some people that we'd like to thank.
So big thank you to our patrons, Console Peasant and Edwoon. At the top tier, Last Word. Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier. Shawn Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., and Irvin Ruiz, who are supporting us on the credited level. And Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, and Awesomegamer 241 at the gratitude level.
There we go. Thanks so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time. Komoda.